So what you might have missed, because I randomly disconnected, don't make the snowman sad, is that Edgeworth was like, we have one thing to question. What could it be? What is the one thing that raises a contradiction now that we know that we got the button from the snowman? And to which I responded, why are you asking it like that, Edgeworth? Are we part of a children's show? Are you talking to the audience of orphans that are not actually here? Are you going to get a live-action movie like Dora the Explorer is? Is that where this entire thing is going? Where's the murderer? Can you point out the murderer? Is it over here? Is it over there? No! It's over here! Hooray! You found the murderer! But yeah, sorry for the disconnection. I don't know what causes that, but I apologize either way. I'm gonna blame Twitch. Well, now he's a one-eye witness. Poor guy. Don't bully the snowman, please. The victim was holding on to the button. Furthermore, the button was stained with blood. In other words, he grabbed the button after he was attacked. For example, if we were to picture it in this way, after being struck in the back of the head, Mr. Cameron lost his balance. As he was falling, he reached out his hand towards the nearby snowman. However, it could not support his weight and he collapsed while still grasping the button. Uh-oh? That means... Mr. Cameron was near the snowman when he was attacked. Indeed. At the very least, he must have been within arm's reach. However, it is quite clear that he would not have been able to reach it from his current position. But Mr. Cameron's footprint only lead toward the flower bed. Can we be certain those footprints are really Mr. Cameron's? Seems we'll need to investigate them one more time. Understood. I'll recreate the time the body was discovered scene one more time. Here we go. Are you guys still playing around with that little Mr. Thief? These footprints should match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, right? Let's inspect them again. These footprints, are they really Mr. Cameron's? They're from a size 11 shoes and these huge footprints match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes. No matter how you look at it, they're moving steadily towards the center of the flower beds. But when Mr. Cameron was attacked, he grabbed the button from the snowman. Even with the Great Thief's Peak human conditioning, your arm just can't stretch that far. Unless you're an alien. He might be an alien, Mr. Edgeworth. Was Jill an alien? So if this is going in the way I slightly expected to, I'm gonna be like... I don't know, it would definitely suit this game's usual course of logic. Plus, if Blaze was manipulating the evidence in any way, that would make sense. Let alone ordinary civilian, it'd be completely impossible. The footprints came from the shoes worn by the victim, just as the case files say. However, does that mean Mr. Cameron was the owner of these shoes? Ah, dang it. We should re-examine Mr. Cameron's shoes. Best part about being in a simulation, though, is that I don't need to worry about stepping in the simulated snow and getting my footprints everywhere. These shoes should match the footprints, however, these shoes. Seems like they were not the ones originally worn by the victim. Yep, okay. They put their own shoes on his body to simulate him getting there in his oversized shoes. And you know, they don't even bother putting in the files that he wore a size 7 shoe. Ow. What do you mean? If you look closely, you'll see the laces were tied up strangely, and the size doesn't seem to fit quite right either. How do they not have any fingerprints either? Yeah, almost like they wanted to hide it. Weird. That would mean these huge footprints leading up to the victim's feet were most likely made by someone other than the victim. So then the footprints leading into and from the victim's head
Must be Mr. Cameron's. No, not necessarily. They seem a little too small to be the victim's footprints. So none of the footprints are his. Then which way did Mr. Cameron walk from? It's quite simple. The victim did not walk here on his own accord, but rather, he was carried here after he was murdered by the culprit. The question now becomes, where was he killed and carried from? Perhaps it was near the snowman after all? Nothing of interest here. I was pressing back. Yeah, that's why there was nothing of interest here. I know. That's why I was pressing back. Mr. Cameron's body was moved. If we consider the button Hero is holding on to, it's highly likely that he was killed near the snowman. I should take a closer look. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. The snowman's become a sad sight to look at. Can't be helped. Snow and ice both melt away with time. Just like the mystery of the cases you've solved, Mr. Edgeworth. As time passes, those mysteries melt away while you continue to keep your cool. You do realize I'm racking my brain trying to solve those mysteries during a case, right? But you're so cool during it. There's some size 7 footprints going back and forth. According to the police files, these are the culprit's footprints. Indeed. They seem to grow faint and disappear as they approach the road. There's not much snow left on the road after all. As expected, it'll be difficult to determine who these footprints belong to. Of course, here's the missing brick. Huh? There's a brick missing here. How does the little thief know that? The rest are all in order. It's strange how this is the only one missing. Is that strange? Perhaps the missing brick was the one used as the murder weapon. Ah! Yeah, it seems to be just the right size to fit in the gap perfectly. Okay. Yeah, I thought so. But what am I missing here? These footprints were believed to be the culprits. Shoe size 7, not 11. 7-Eleven would make this really weird. Oh wait. What's this thing? It's a swing decorated with the face of an elephant. Looks like there's some kind of motor attached to the other side of the elephant. There's one thought that has crossed the minds of every top-class swinger. If only I could do a full 360. With that powerful motor rotating the swing, that dream could finally be achieved. Rotating with a motor, but wouldn't that be dangerous? Mr. Edgeworth, you can't fulfill your dreams unless you're willing to take some risks. Is that the real problem here? I can't deny the thought has crossed my mind when I was younger. Of being like, I could do a full 360 if I swung hard enough, but then I get like, almost there, and I'm like, this is actually really dangerous and scary, so I should probably stop before I hit my head on the bar. But then I'll try again tomorrow. These playground toys are modeled after a hare and a tortoise from, like the fable. The tortoise and the hare competed in a race, and in the end the hare lost. And now for something completely different. It's time for a K-Quiz! Why did the hare lose? There are 3 choices. I already know the answer. It's because the hare took a nap. 1. The hare's favorite shoes were stolen by the Yatagarasu. 2. The tourist trained with the Yatagarasu until it became faster than the hare. Or 3. Unbeknownst to the two animals, the Yatagarasu stole the victory from the shadows. Those are my only choices. Is it too hard for you? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It starts with a th.
She wants me to pick a number 3.
Well, at least he got that part right. But also, I don't know if you can steal the victory of a race if you never said you were racing. Okay, I must have to logic something here. Body was moved. As I thought, it seems the murder actually occurred near the snowman. Both the button Mr. Cameron was holding and the murder weapon came from there. Indeed, also if we assume that the killer picked up the brick near the snowman, and then tried to sneak up behind Mr. Cameron. Oh, Mr. Cameron totally would have seen the person picking up the brick. Exactly. Okay, please update the recreation. Mr. Cameron was not in the middle of the flower beds near the snowman, but near the snowman. Well, now it's just a mess, honestly. No matter how you look at it, this is strange. All the people involved in the case are gathered in the same place. Did we make a mistake here or something? One piece of evidence this recreation is based on is odd. If I had to choose which piece of evidence is fake, which piece of evidence is likely to be fake? It'd have to be the picture, right?
Take that!
Was this photo really taken by Mr. Cameron? What do you mean? We have proven that whoever killed Mr. Cameron also moved the body. For what reason would they have to deliberately move his body? Perhaps the culprit wanted to falsify the scene that Mr. Cameron witnessed. And that's why they took a fake photo? They made the president stand under the streetlight and took a photo with Cameron's camera. Try saying that aloud. It would have been quite simple. Now that you mention it, I mean, they had a gun, so... Mr. Cameron's camera only had one photo on it, right? Indeed. In all likelihood, the original roll of film had been removed from the camera. And after loading a new roll of film onto the camera, the fake photo was taken. I see! So this photograph must have been taken after Mr. Cameron was killed, right? Exactly. This was not the scene Mr. Cameron actually witnessed. It's likely that this photo is forged evidence. Then where did Mr. Cameron witness the president and his kidnapper? The photo isn't the only piece of evidence that indicates what Mr. Cameron witnessed. The testimony he left on the answering machine. Precisely. We should listen to that recording one more time and confirm what was said. Where else could the president and his kidnapper have been? They were inside the building? Yes. But I'm wondering if it wants to say the door or the window. I'll go with the door, I guess.
Take that!
They were over there? So what's the basis for that claim? Do I really need a basis for my claims? In other words, you don't know, do you? Ow! That's why. I don't know, the door could have been open, but I guess it was snowing, so why would you open the door to an orphanage? Okay, let me read it. Make sure I get it exactly right. Oh wait, that's the wrong thing. It's this one. Light just went off, I can barely see a thing now. Light just went off. Indeed, Mr. Cameron's testimony should provide a major clue. If only you could have
Like, it doesn't have the organizer thing here when I'm trying to check. The light just went off. Oh, he was around this light.
Take that!
Okay. Apparently I need to be very exact in this one. Maybe I need to point at the exact light?
Take that!
There we go. Figured they'd be... I figured it wanted me to point at the area. Oh well. Mr. Cameron said this on the answering machine. The light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. There are only 2 places here where the lights are broken. The light by the orphanage. Okay, could you please update the recreation? Roger. Well, everyone's just watching this happen. Like, how does John and Courtney feel about a guy with a gun and the president just showing up in front of them? Like, whoa, what is that? Why are they green? I mean, everything's green. Don't look at them directly, son. You'll get... It's a bad influence. You'll mess up your eyes. This is... So the kidnapper was near the orphanage? Indeed. With this, we've shown the connection between the orphanage and the kidnapper. So that's why they moved the body and took a fake photo to create false testimony, in order to remove any suspicion towards the orphanage in court. With this, the state of the recreation has changed completely. The time the body was discovered, scene was probably been greatly impacted as a result. Let's go check it out right away. Preparations are ready. Since the state of the recreation has changed once again, I should press the Y button and select change recreation. Let's give it a try. What's the Y button? How do I press that in my brain? It's also a good question because I don't have a Y button, as I did not put that as my Y button. Why did I not put the Y button as my Y button? It would have made so much more sense. And yes, I know it's on the scene, but you're ruining my joke. I'm just kidding. Anyways, I'm gonna be back 1 second because I've been out of water for a bit and I'm thirsty. Doing stupid voices is difficult, even though I don't do very good ones. Ow. Hey, be right back real quick. You can just deal with that.
You can't take over anything, Reese Lane. Can't take over was never conquered.
What? Yeah, I tried to go out there and someone was in the kitchen. I was like, I'm gonna sneak up on him. But that doesn't work because I have an Egyptian god card on my door. And by Egyptian god card, I mean I made a sign saying Brilly's room in hieroglyphs back in high school in art class, and it's like carved onto a sheet of copper or something. Hey, she said write something on it, so I did. Although admittedly I didn't have the idea at first of writing my name on it. So it actually says, the streaming river, Brilly's room. Was it streaming river or was it flowing river? Something like that. It's been many years. It was definitely something river, Brilly's room. Wow. There's also a penguin on my door, because I like penguins. I was not fluent in hieroglyphs. We all had a bunch of guides for that in the art class. It was an Egyptian, I forget what the exact thing was. It was just a focus on Egyptian artwork for that week, I guess. More like the month, because we were on that for a while. It was pretty neat. I also made a bunch of other things. Like, I think I've showed off that cup I've made, and a box. Never really finished either of those, though. Either of those, whatever. Anyways, onward! Hey man, looking pretty tough. You think you can take a bullet? Yeah, I can take a bullet. And then he didn't take a bullet. Weird. How do I examine this? Shush your face.
So this is where the president and the kidnapper were really seen.
That is correct. Either is also correct. However, now the orphanage can no longer avoid suspicion in the kidnapping. Yes, they can no longer do that 12 years in the future.
Sylvia, you are genuinely hilarious.
And adorable, but... you know,
That's neither here nor there.
well, it was there, not so much. Moving on. That's why it was necessary to distance the kidnapping site from the orphanage ground.
Oh, sneaky. So that's why they took the fake photo.
They disposed of Cameron's film and threatened the president near the road. Then, using new film, they took the false photograph.
If Blaze was in league with the kidnappers, he could conceal any incriminating evidence.
In fact, the SS5 incident case files have been sealed away until Blaze's recent downfall.
Ooh, the truth of this case is being revealed little by little. I like it.
Indeed. However, some mysteries still remain. We'll need to thoroughly investigate any changes in previous recreations.
Yeah, what's up? So you want to recreate the scene based on the police investigation data. This is the time the body was discovered when the police were investigating the scene. I've recreated the scene.
That's weird. Why is the body over here? Originally, Mr. Cameron's body was here. In order to be consistent with the fake photo, he was moved to the center of the flower beds.
Then the footprints going back and forth on the body, could they be...
Indeed. There were only one possibility at that moment. These footprints were probably left when the body was moved to the flower beds. Leave the culprit. Size 7. Don't lose from. Okay. Why is the blood stain still here? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Blood splattered above the snow. Certainly was a substantial amount. Almost as if the murder was actually committed here.
But Mr. Cameron should have been attacked near the snowman.
Exactly. In that case, this blood must belong to someone else.
But the police report said this was Mr. Cameron's blood.
The one in charge of this case was DeBeste. It would have been simple for him to falsify that information.
But wouldn't it be faster to just clean up the bloodstains, or rather than falsify information?
He wouldn't be able to do that. Think about it. Blaze knew that Mr. Cameron's body would be discovered here, in which case the forensic department would naturally become involved. Yes, also accurate. Until everything under the sun has been suspected of a crime, the police will not rest.
Ah, a luminol reaction. They would have discovered it with the power of science!
Precisely. It would have been difficult to completely erase the traces of blood. However, falsifying the results of the blood test would be much more easier in comparison. He would have just had to switch the results from the forensic reports.
Ah, what a bummer. Knowing those documents I read were falsified. It looks like Mr. Cameron's clothes were completely soaked in blood.
The blood scattered here got into Cameron's clothes. That would mean, at the time, the bloodstains here had not dried yet.
I see. This certainly is somebody's blood. A certain somebody's blood was splattered here just a short while before Mr. Cameron was murdered.
Indeed, that is exactly right. However, if that's the case, wouldn't a new contradiction arise in this recreation? Nothing of interest here, except for that brick. It wants me to do something, but I'm not fully sure what. Yep, sure is. Belong to someone other than the victim. Let's see, what do the file details say? Could it be the burn? But I guess the fire would make the blood dry. I don't know. Let's give it a try. What's there to lose other than my life force? This is a clear contradiction.
Huh? You mean this bloodstain?
Do you see how this blood stain is broken up by the remains of the fire? This is proof that the fire occurred after the blood is scattered around the area.
Huh? But I thought the fire occurred before the murder.
It seems that information is suspect as well. If the fire had broken out after the murder,
then the child who started the fire should have seen the body and the bloodstains.
why then did they not come forward as a witness? It's likely that would have put Blaze at a great disadvantage.
Guess we'll need to investigate the fire in more detail. Also, I like how I was just standing to the side, listening to everything you were doing. Hey, you!
Oh, yes, sir.
There should be some records of the fire in the police department under a different case file. I want you to bring me every last investigation report about the fire.
Understood, Chief.
Oh, and one more thing. Unfuse, so I can thank all of you individually.
What is it, sir?
Contact the House of Lang in Zinc 5. There should be evidence from this case in my old man's room. You could also just contact my old man, but he's on vacation, and possibly dead.
What do you mean?
I just remembered why I recognize this scene. A long time ago, I saw a picture in my old man's room. It was a drawing resembling this scene.
What did you say?
However, I think it looked something like a child drew.
A child? And the artist may have been the culprit behind the fire.
It should still be somewhere in my old man's room. Have them send it over here.
Are we gonna know this child, though? That's the important thing. Understood, sir. Goodbye. I will walk briskly off the screen now. Alright. I think we're done with that one then.
I'm gonna recreate the scene based on Mr. Cameron's eyewitness testimony. This is the moment of the incident, when the president was being kidnapped. I've recreated the incident.
There's no mistaking it. Mr. Cameron was originally here when he took the photo. The killer took a brick from that flower bed and attacked him. Mr. Cameron was hit in the back of the head and grabbed the snowman's right eye as he fell.
And since we know that Mr. Cameron's body was here, the state of the other recreation must have been changed as well.
Indeed, in that case, perhaps we should go and investigate.
But it's the one-eyed snowman. It goes all the way up to my shoulders. At this size, it's a gigaton class. You gotta hand it to the kids who made this.
I was hoping for something more some more diverse information instead of just its size.
A bucket hat, button eyes, wool scarf, it's fully equipped to fight crime. All that's left is to knock it down with countless punches and kicks.
I was hoping for something more objective information instead of what you'd like to do to it. Don't punch the poor snowman.
They were created to serve. And, you know, just to be friends.
Flower. Why? What if Francisco whips the snowman? It's just a simulation, but it will feel it throughout time. Have I seen this before? Yes, you have. Oh my gosh, why is this one so long?
That's a lion lily, a very rare type of lily.
Did you say lion lily?
That's the flower Miss Courtney gave to the president. Wow.
Could it be just a coincidence?
If I recall, the lion lily originates from Asia. Language of flowers, it means the bond between parent and child.
I never knew you were so familiar with the flowers.
Much is common sense, simply lacking in your studies, Miles Edgeworth. Blah blah blah.
Killer appears to be burnt. Okay, this is this again. I can't seem to examine anything about this thing.
It seems to have reset my... You've already seen this thing too, so I can't just skip by it really fast.
Place Cameron's guild, not near the flower beds.
So then, whose blood is this?
Just now, the state of the recreation has changed completely. Regarding this blood stain. The time the body was discovered seems probably been greatly impacted as a result.
Let's go check it out right away. Preparations are ready.
The state of the recreation has changed once again. I should press the Y button, select change recreation. Let's give it a try. I want to examine this. Can I examine this while... Okay. These footprints, they're still here. These footprints. Are they really Mr. Cameron's?
They're from size 11 shoes, and these huge footprints match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes. No matter how you look at it, they're moving steadily towards the center of the flower beds.
When Mr. Cameron was attacked, he grabbed the button of the snowman.
Doing this again.
So my only issue so far... Well, the main issue I have in this moment would be that in the fake photograph, it doesn't really seem like he's at the right angle. Although I guess he could have just scraped it from that side. Kind of hard to tell if that's a left or right hand.
But also, is that even the president? Also, they have these spiked
They have these spiked bars here for the fence, and no one got stabbed on them? Also, they're like oddly angled. I don't feel like that's accurate. Is that accurate? No, I guess they really are just bent like that. Why? But how can they exist and not... I know! They've already done that one. That's exactly why I expect them to do it again. They can't have the spiked fence cameo and not have it stab someone. Oops. I didn't mean to click that one. No, I don't. The newest feature? Not particularly. What? Come on, don't say that. Using the latest feature, we can now recreate the scene at different times. Went ahead and started explaining it. Now we can recreate the scene based on the police investigation report and Mr. Cameron's eyewitness testimony. Please let me know whenever you want to switch scenes. Okay, well, I'd like to switch scenes. Okay, which part am I looking at here? Maybe this? Nope, not that one. I'm gonna examine the lamp, dang it. Already checked that one. Leave this part. Now I guess I have to logic something up, because I don't see anything else. We suppose that Blaze was one of the kidnappers, which would be fairly obvious given that we know they're connected in some way. It becomes more likely that he dug up yesterday is connected to the abduction. What is it? I figured it out. It was treasure. Treasure! He found the One Piece. He was trying to become Pirate King this whole time. Couldn't Blaze have dug up the ransom money? The 100 million ransom. Buried in the ground until the heat died down. It's certainly possible. That's actually pretty well reasoned. I know, right? Investigation complete! My health is restored. Let me just flip this on and then flip it off. Not in that order, and not in that way. Does she have to hold it up in the air every time she does that? Also, we're just here now. No one came around and was like, why is everything green and weird? Why are those guys just running into the walls? How are they running into the walls? They just walk through them. Also, they're standing in the middle of the street. Is that okay? Is that legal? Chifu, I am back. I brought you the info on the fire the kid started and the photo of the drawing in your father's office. I'm really good at my job. Oh, also, I've been waiting for this. Hurry up and hand him over. 1 second, Chifu. We brought your father. The information from Agent Lang's father. This is it. This is exactly what I remembered. Also, wow. That kid is, really good at drawing. Looks like he drew Xehanort on here. "12 years ago, he had already deducted the ending of Kingdom Hearts. Very interesting. This kid was clearly from the future. He must have sent his heart back into the past so he could tell us about the investigation." There is someone who looks like Xehanort. Yeah, he's one of the 13. Oh, believe me. That's a series that'll leave you heartbroken constantly. And make you feel like you've been murdered. So let's see here. We got the president being attacked by an ox holding flowers. And then that guy has a dog and he's like, "Watch out, I'll shoot you with my dog." And then the president's like, "No, don't do it. I have flowers here." And then the elephant in the background is a mutation of spiders. The legendary elephant spider. And it has fused together with a banana. Also, there's a rabbit. This was the picture drawn by the child depicting the night of the incident?
Sure looks like it was drawn with a child's touch.
As I thought, the one who drew this is most likely the child who started the fire.
Yes, the legendary spider phantom. Shifu! What now? Sorry, but it's gonna have to wait. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Why do you think my old man had this?
Perhaps he obtained it during the course of investigation into the incident. Although I don't know why he would have concealed it. Agent Lang, might I be able to see the details of the fire?
Yeah, sure.
I think they're just friends then. Just hanging out. Allow me to read it, post haste. Let's see here. The boy who started the fire snuck out of bed on the night of the incident. Seemed this boy went missing several days later.
What? Don't tell me he witnessed something he shouldn't have. Even though that's exactly what we thought he did in the first place. That's horrible. He was only a child after all.
Well, I'd hate for that to be the case. We can't rule out the possibility entirely.
Huh? Apparently, the boy left some stuff behind at the orphanage, and it was taken as evidence. What's this?
What's that doing here?
Mr. Prosecutor, do you recognize this?
Yes, I know one piece of evidence that's related to it.
Why didn't he recognize it?
Whoops, one pass up.
Take that!
I don't know what it's doing here, but isn't that the missing horn from this Mozilla doll?
No way! You mean this came off the president's...
You know of it?
Yeah, I've noticed the president kept it close by as a decoration. I always thought it was strange how one of the horns was missing.
If you twist the horn, this doll will play back any previously recorded audio.
If we put the missing horn back in place, we might be able to hear a different recording. Or a video.
One of the two. Indeed, it is possible. The doll is currently on the 51st floor of the Grand Tower. Oh wait, so I don't have it with me? That's very misleading.
Hey you! You heard that, right?
Yes sir, I'll be right back. But I have important things to tell you, but I guess I can wait. Shifu, I've got it. The Mighty Mozilla doll.
Well done. Give it to the prosecutor over there. That way his dirty hands can get on it and mine can remain safely clean in my pockets.
If we insert the horn found the orphanage into the doll... Oh, it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit.
Well, can you hear anything? Mr. Huang, it's Amy. It's been a while. I saw the news that you will be coming to this country. I was really nervous about doing this, but I decided to send you a message.
Overruled!
Overruled! Please stop the playback.
Judge Courtney?
What's wrong? Stop it, now! It's a boy, your son. He's just been born. I'm sorry, that's all I wanted to tell you. His name is John. John Marsh. It's a fine name for him, don't you think? Ah!
Marsh?
Did she say John? I'll be waiting in the courtyard of the orphanage at midnight on February 9th. Even if it's just once, I want John to be able to meet you. I'm sorry if I'm being selfish, but I'll be waiting. No way! That was my... John. What is the meaning of this, Miss Courtney? John is not my biological son. He's adopted. As Sylvia once said. That is a thing that can happen.
Did John know about this?
Of course he knew. John's mother, Amy Marsh, passed away about 5 years ago. She and I were cousins. Since we were young, we've always been really close. We were often mistaken for sisters. That's why, when she passed away, I thought it was only natural that I look after John. Also, there were circumstances which prevented me from revealing his father's identity. I never even told John his father's name.
OP is secretly the snowman, if you didn't know. He can only cry from one eye, but he cries a lot from that one eye.
Ugh.
And now it's all been revealed thanks to the recording on that doll. Did John's mother send the doll to the president?
Hey, John, was he president really my dad? Yes, he was. Before you were born, Amy worked as a diplomat in Xingfa.
Diplomat? So that must be how she became acquainted with President Huang. With the chill of his attitude, but also that backpack probably has a cooler in it.
Hang on, didn't you tell me she worked at the orphanage? Yes, after returning to this country, Amy left her job as a diplomat. She always had a great passion for charity work, so she began working at the orphanage.
Not so fast!
Not so fast! Hey, Miss Courtney. So this Amy girl, she called the president there herself, but she never showed up at the scene of the SS-5 incident. What's with that? Amy couldn't make it. Apparently, someone had been following her the whole night.
Perhaps it was Blaze. I can't say for certain, but it's possible that was his doing.
After that, Amy never got another chance to see the president again.
So she died 5 years ago. This conversation must be painful for John.
Oh, right. Hey, John. You thirsty? How about I buy us both some juice? We can go together. Why would I be thirsty? You see how much milk I have? I'm a part of this too. I'll listen until the end. Besides, I can afford to buy my own juice. Also, I have milk. Oh, shot down by a kid.
Hey, warm milk can be relaxing too, probably. I don't know.
John, do you understand the reason I met with the president 2 days ago?
The secret meeting from 2 nights ago.
I wanted to tell him about Amy's death and that you were alive and well. But I
see. That's why you couldn't tell us your reasons for meeting the president until now.
I get it. She would have had to reveal his connection with John. I brought a bouquet of lion lilies so that he would understand I truly did know about Amy. Those flowers are a dear memory to the president and Amy. First present she received from the president was a bouquet of lion lilies. But now, even though he has passed away, if only he was still alive, perhaps I could have introduced him to John.
Shifu! I'm sorry to interrupt this atmosphere, but there's something I need to say.
Oh, what is it now? Can't this wait?
Well, actually, there's one last item's been delivered from Xingfa. I have here the President's will.
Say what?
President's will? How'd they get the stuff here so fast?
My old man received a great number of special medals from the president himself. As a token of his trust, the president left his will in the protection of Leng clan. Those medals in that will, they were the pride of our clan. Our family treasures, so to speak. Possibly.
Okay. Are you sure it's a copy? Did they just happen to copy it into this perfect scroll?
Yeah, this is.
Agent Lang, does that have something to do with our current case?
You bet it does. It says here, I hereby acknowledge John Marsh as my own son. What? John's name is in the president's will?
Are you certain that it was written by the president?
Yeah, he entrusted it to the Leng clan even before the SS-5 incident took place. They'll have to appraise it back home, but by the name of the Leng clan, this is the real deal.
Dijun Huang was the president of the entire nation. The existence of his son would have caused considerable controversy. However, he left behind a will just in case.
And this makes me doubly sure. I still can't believe it myself, but there's no room for doubt. John Marsh, you are the son of Dijun Huang, president of Xingfa, and man with a confusing name.
Dun. Dun. I don't get it, pal.
John. Oh no.
John. To be continued.
And with that somber note, I'm afraid that's where we're going to be coming to a close for tonight. But hey, at least he didn't get kidnapped again, apparently. Yeah, oh good. Ow. I could go on longer, but I feel like that's a pretty good ending point. And you know, that was 3 hours. So, it's a good time. Hopefully the VOD is not going to be, super annoying. Let me see real quick, just to check. Oh boy, it's super annoying. Yeah, clearly. Oh boy. I guess I'll have to download those and put them together. Somehow. Oh well, it's my fault for not recording it, I suppose. Alternatively, I could just record them again. It's not like I'll be doing anything, and I've been recording things already. Anyways, it has actually been 3 hours, 11 minutes, 36, 37, 38, 39, buying time. Okay. Yeah, the hard part is, like, rendering that kind of stuff is, like, really obnoxious, so I probably won't do that. But either way, or either way, whichever is correct, whichever is not correct. Thank you so much for joining me for the Investigations 2. I hope you enjoyed them. Definitely interesting. Definitely more and more things coming to light. Sorry again for all the disconnects. I don't know what that is. I think it might just be OBS messing up. Who knows? But hope you enjoyed the bad voice acting as always. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, pal. That's not even his voice. Where did Will Powers go, by the way? Did he just leave? And Penny left too. I mean, not my Penny, but that Penny. Anywho, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you all have a good night. I probably won't be doing anything tomorrow, because it's Friday and stuff. But who knows? I might have time to do stuff, I might not. Anywho, see you later. Thanks for watching, again, for the 50th time. And who knows? Maybe next time it will be revealed that you are the son of the president of another country. Not Jing-Fa, that's John. But some other mystical country. You never know in this world. Edward could come out to be a president's son. Who knows? See you later.